Hello and thank you for watching. I'm Jennifer Bowman with Olympia Piano, and in this video we are getting back to the Dozen a Day Orange book. I'm going to complete it very soon. In this video we're going to do exercises 1 and 2. So for each exercise I'm going to go over 3 or 4 things before doing a slow playthrough and then a fast playthrough. Before going over the elements in deep breathing, I just want to mention that I always have timestamps in the description, so you can work on whichever portion of the lesson you'd like to work on. You don't always have to go straight through. The first thing we're going to work on for deep breathing is harmony. It's organized into 2 measure chunks. So in measure 1, we have this harmony: C, E flat, G flat, A. And this particular chord does not happen to be a C diminished chord, but rather an A diminished chord, because you always have to be skipping letters when you're naming the chord. I'll show you what I mean. So here, C, skip D, E flat, skip F, G flat. We should be skipping A because that's the next musical letter, but we're not. That's an A. So this is not a C diminished chord. That would have to be a B double flat for that to be the case. Now if I put the A on the bottom, we'll see that this one works. A, skip B, C, skip D, E flat, skip F, and G flat. You don't have any letters that are touching. So this happens to be an A diminished chord in first inversion. Then that's going to resolve in measure 2 to a C major chord. Measure 3, same thing. A diminished resolving to C. Then in measure 5, we have the same concept. Again, we've got D flat to E, so it's kind of like the same structure. E diminished in first inversion, going to G chord, and then we have a G7, dominant 7, which incidentally resolves up here to a C chord, 5 to 1. Okay? Item number 2 that I want to go over is the technique for this one. This is a slow roll up of the wrist. Just imagine your stomach expanding and contracting. That's kind of the speed of the wrist. And then in terms of the placement, you are going to be rolling through the full finger pad. So use that whole fingerprint area as you roll through those chords. And then finally, the third thing I want to mention is the pedal. The timing of the pedal. We're going to change the pedal whenever we change the chord. And first, the hand will go down, then the foot goes up, down. You'll see those upside down little V's. That means switch the pedal, but the hand goes first. So I want to just demonstrate going into beat 2, and I want you to listen for the timing of the pedal. It's kind of loud on a grand piano, so you should be able to hear it. So here's beat 4. I'm going to move the hands down. Left hand is going to go down. My foot is going to go up, down really quickly. Do you hear that? It's like a hiccup. And then going through. So first I'm going to do a slow playthrough, talking through some things I didn't already mention, and then I'll play through it without as much talking. So when we get set at the beginning, right hand's going to get set in place even though right hand has a rest. Pedal's going to go down, so we just get that pedal going. Left hand will start with a solo C, then move up an octave. The hands have the same notes. So once we start playing, we're going to have subdivisions, 1 and 2 and so forth. On the ands, move to the next position. So it'll look like this. Pedals going, 1 and 2. And then on this, the left hand is going to go where the right hand was. Notice in your music, on beat 3, the left hand goes into treble clef, right there. And then notice on beat 4, the left hand's going to go where the right hand was, and the right hand has an 8 with some dots above it. That means play the notes up an octave. So your hands are always going to be an octave apart. Okay? Moving both hands down, getting in position. Left hand's going to play the single note, and we're going to switch the pedal. Move, play, move, play, move, play. Back to the diminished chord, up, down, move. Back to C major, resolves. Now new note here, this is low G. we know that low C is on that second ledger line. If we go down another ledger line, which would be a third lower, that would be A, and then this note is underneath the A ledger line, so it's a G. Similarly, in the right hand is under two ledger lines, G, B flat, D flat, E. Here we go. Left hand goes into treble clef here, right hand up, low G again. Now low G, then we've got that full dominant seventh chord, thumbs next door, split by a whole step. Now here it resolves differently depending on the hand. Right hand, this is going to basically squeeze in, play a third, C and E. Left hand is going to hop up, finger 2 is going to go where the left hand thumb was, and play a fifth. And by the way, I like this fingering that she wrote. 2-5, keep your left hand at an angle, and just march back down and straighten out as you go down. Okay? So we got this. 1, 2. And then you're going to play the lowest C. That's the C with two ledger lines. You see the 8 underneath gives you this lowest one. Now the playthrough with no talking. So I'm going to play the diminished chords a little bit louder. Then when we get to line 2, those diminished chords will be even louder because G is farther away from home, which is C. And then I'm going to crescendo all the way to the end. So putting some dynamics. So it'll be hairpin dynamics, crescendo, diminuendo, crescendo, diminuendo, crescendo, diminuendo, and then crescendo to the end. 1, 2, ready, go. Now let's move on to number 2. This one is very descriptive in the title, sliding down the pole a little bit at a time. We're basically using the whole piano for this one, so it's very evocative of the title. Let's go over the 3 things I want you to focus on before the playthrough. Item number 1 is this is a diatonic exercise. That means all of our notes are going to remain using the notes of the C major scale. No matter where we're starting, we're using C scale notes. And I'm going to give you a little challenge on diatonic at the end. So I hope you watch until the end and try the challenge. All right? Item number 2 is rhythm. 4 16th notes take the same amount of time as a quarter note. And so we want to make sure that when we play those quarter notes, we don't start the next group of 16th notes too soon. So 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a. Try to resist the temptation to not hold that long enough. The next thing I want to talk about is finger position and technique. Whereas in deep breathing, we were rolling through those finger pads, this portion of the hand. This piece, because we're dealing with the faster notes, we're going to play it on more the tip portion of the fingers. And so you can find that position by doing what I call standing up on the keys. So if you look in the upper right, you'll see my hand on the keyboard. I'm going to kind of press my wrist up and roll up until I find what I call the grip point. That's the point at which my hands are really gripping the keys. They're feeling very confident. If I go too high, my fingers kind of curl under. And if I don't go high enough, I can feel my whole finger touching the keys. We just want to get those tips, all right? So playing on the tips, and then the 4th thing to concentrate on is a down-up motion with the hand. So we're going to go down when the 16ths start, and then we're going to go up when the quarter note occurs. So it's going to look like this. Down, up, move, down, up. Left hand will have opposite fingers, so left hand goes down on the thumb and up on finger 5. Down, up, move, down, up. We're always restarting where we just popped off. So just like the other one, I'm going to talk a bit during the first playthrough, give you a couple more things to think about, and then I'll play it quickly, and then I'll give you the challenge. So in this one, both hands are starting in the treble clef. That means both hands are playing in the area above middle C. Left hand is on super high C is what I call it, 2 ledger lines, super high. And then the right hand again has that 8 with the dots, which means instead of playing this C, we're going to play an octave higher. One other thing you might notice in that first measure, it's actually just what we call a pickup measure. There's only one beat in that measure, and sometimes composers do this because it suits the music a little bit better to have a shorter measure at the beginning. So that's the case for this one. There's just one beat, beat 4, and if you look at the end, you'll see that the last measure has 3 beats. So you can add those up. 1 plus 3 equals 4, and that still retains our 4/4 time signature. So when we start this, we're going to count to 3 and then come in on 4. So it'll be like this: 1, 2, and 3, 4 E and a 1, pop move. Now no 8 VA, we're back on just the written notes, still in treble clef. And then here, take a look at the left hand. The left hand on beat 3 is moving to bass clef. If you're just looking at those notes without regard to the clef, it would look like you were going from here to here. But really, we're going to A, which is the top note of the bass staff. So we start in treble and then move to bass. So those are really right next to each other. So beat 2, lift. Same thing here. In the right hand, it looks like it's going from low A to high E, but really it's just switching to the bass staff. Play that with your thumb. Move. 1, 2, and then instead of holding this for the full quarter value, I'm going to pop the right hand off with the left hand staccato. Okay? 1, 2, 3. Let's try a little bit faster. 1, 2, 3. All right, now we're going to do the challenge. So that was in C major, all white keys, pretty easy to think about. The challenge is, let's try this diatonic exercise in D major. So we're going to do the exact same fingering. You might have thumbs on black keys, doesn't matter. I'm not going to go too fast, but what we want to do is really get familiar with the keyboard geography of D major. So we're just going to start whole step higher and incorporate C sharps and F sharps because that's the key signature. 1, 2, 3. Move. 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 2. So you could do that with any key. You could also do minor keys. Just have fun with that. Transposing these finger exercises is just a great thing to get in the habit of doing. Thank you very much for watching. I'm going to continue on probably 2-3 exercises per video and complete the Orange Dozen a Day book. I really appreciate you watching. I appreciate your support. I love hearing from you in the comments or the emails that you send me. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for mentioning at Olympia Piano in your social media. Thank you for the donations I've received either through PayPal or through YouTube Super Thanks, which is located at the bottom, those 3 dots. You can just click on them, you'll see thanks, and you can donate any amount, which really helps me grow my channel and create more content like this. So another thing is, if you've seen my videos before, you know I love to know where you're from, so please leave that for me in the comments, and thank you for watching.